Hello, my name is Trydar, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build the Greek Parthenon in Minecraft. Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is take a tour of the Parthenon itself here. As you can tell, it is going to be a large building. I think this would qualify as a mega build. You're going to need an awful lot of materials. And as you can see over here, I'm presenting this to you with two options. The one I'm going to be showing you is the reference model. This is made of cheaper diorite and cobblestone for the most part. This one over here is a quartz variant in case you have 100 villagers that all sell quartz. You can probably buy that amount from them. But let's take a look around the exterior here. So at the front we can see that we have the front pediment here. And we have colonnades and the triangular roof and everything that you would expect from a typical Greek temple. On the sides here, we do have some ornamental details. I believe these are some winged horses on either side. I did my best to replicate those. There's no examples left on the actual Parthenon to look at, but from the historical reconstructions, they all seem to say that it looked something like this. Now, in my design here, I have tried to go for accuracy as much as is possible inside of Minecraft. The sculptures on the pediment here, I have had to take a little liberty with on these because, in Minecraft, when you only got a couple of blocks to play with, you can't really get too much detail on those. Now, this temple is designed in the Doric order. Usually I build temples in the Corinthian order, and there is also an Ionic example we will take a look at down there on the end. But the Parthenon itself is built in a Doric style, meaning that at the bottom here, the columns sit just straight on the floor, and they are of course fluted, as you can see here. And on the top they have very simple capitals, and then on top of that they sit on this entablature here. And of course the design for the entablature is the Doric order, meaning that we have the triglyphs here, and little sculptural details are supposed to be in between those, but Minecraft, so we only had a couple of blocks, so I just kind of made them squares. On the top here I have added some roofing material. There's no roof left on the Parthenon to take a look at, but to break up the design a little I have added these ribs in between the roofing elements here. And let's take a look around the back and sides of the building. As you can probably notice, we do have some designs along the walls here for sort of three-dimensional walls with the big ashlar blocks sticking out of those. The wall looked otherwise too flat if I did it in another way, so I have chosen to add that detail in Minecraft. And the back of the temple is of course the same as the front. However, the interior is going to be somewhat different, so let's land here and go up the steps and take a look at the interior here just a little bit. Now I do have some fire pots sitting around here to offer a little bit of light, but there is also a lot of torches and everything hidden around here in places like this where you don't immediately see them. So up here we have our ceiling, which is of course done with stone beams, and I've done my best to replicate the patterns that I saw. And of course in here I have chosen to replicate another series of triglyphs and panels in here because on the Parthenon itself this area actually should be occupied by a frieze, which is just a long scrolling series of sculptures. However, Minecraft again, so it wasn't really possible to do that with any sort of detail that would be noticeable. So I altered the design just a little bit and put in another copy of what is on the exterior on the interior here, just for simplicity's sake. Now if we land here, you will see that there is another set of columns, and there is also a screen. Now in Greek times this was apparently made of bronze, but we don't have any bronze blocks in Minecraft, at least not yet. So what I have chosen to do here is to sort of add a cobblestone lattice with a design. It's partially see-through and in places around here. So you can tell that it's designed to be a lattice. But if we go through the doorway here, we then come into the inner porch. You can see we've got columns, and the lattice is designed to sit between the columns on all the sides here. And at the back here for the wall, of course, we have this pattern again, which I remarked that's on the side walls. It's on these front walls here. But you will notice we of course have a very large doorway here. And I think we are on the back of the temple, so this obscures a small chamber, well, you know, smaller than the one we're going to look at after this one. A chamber back here with 4 columns in it that I believe this was designed to be the Athenian treasury, or rather the treasury of the Delian League. And they would have all their gold and everything stored in here, so perhaps in Minecraft you will want to store your diamonds and valuables back here as well. And if we take a look up here, we can see that we have the ceiling design with the coffers and the cross beams and everything along here and on the side of that there. And of course the columns in here are just copies of the ones on the outside, as are the design of the entablature and the triglyphs and everything. But that is the smallest room, so we want to actually go back to the front, and let's go to, underneath the colonnade here. Even flying very quickly, it's going to take a moment because the temple itself is quite large. So returning to the front, we then want to go here. We have another copy of the porch with the lattice and everything. And over here, we have what is the main sanctuary of the temple. And I have replicated this as best I could from all the references that I could find. And in here, we have a podium and some fire pots and a double-tiered colonnade with medium-sized columns here from the exterior and smaller ones on top of those as well. Of course, we have a large beamed and coffered ceiling on the top here, looking back towards the doorway. And of course we have a hidden lighting and everything up here. And here is a view of that from the other side. There's sort of a little ambulatory back here that you can walk around. I've used it to hide more fire pots and hidden lighting and everything back here. But of course we do have the central podium here, which is designed to have a large statue of Athena Parthenos right there in the Parthenon itself, giving it its name. However, I'm not that great with large statues really, so I have elected to leave this blank, and you can place here whatever you choose. You can even leave out the main plinth if you want to, say, make this your main storage room and have chests lining all of the walls. Back here, I think you could reasonably do that. And there's plenty of room in here for all the storage you would ever need. So now that we have taken a grand tour of the Parthenon, let's go over here and take a look at the quartz variant. So if for some reason you are insane enough to wish to build all of this out of quartz, here is a model of this for you to do so. And of course we have some chiseled quartz here. I suppose there's probably line block quartz, but we have some of those up here and over here as well, and everything. It is an exact copy of what I've just shown you, except I've just changed all the materials in it to quartz. And to illustrate that, let's just take a quick peek inside here. So you can see that the interior is also made of fine white quartz, as are the walls and everything as well, except for the door. It's made of gold and red nether brick and a bit of obsidian here and there. It's the best I could do. There's no door left on it to take a look at to figure out exactly what they built, so I had to make a best guess on that. And over here we have a smaller temple. This is a reference model of, I believe, the Temple of Athena Nike, which is on the Acropolis. I believe they've rebuilt this particular temple a couple of times. And this is the design for it. As you can see, it is a smaller and more stripped down version. It just has columns at the front here, and a standard wall along the sides, and some columns at the back. And it only has one door on it. But the design of the columns and everything is a little bit different. For one, they're smaller, and they also have bases on the bottom. But at the top here, we have some ionic scrolls on either side of these columns. And this is how I would do an ionic column and entablature. So we have the entablature sitting on top of that, and I have tried to do with this one an egg and dart type motif, these things being the egg and these things here being the darts, and then another egg and another dart, and then it goes all the way around the entablature like that. Of course, the roof itself is just a copy of the roof on the Parthenon itself, except for the horses and everything. I have removed the wings and made this thing here a little bit smaller as well in the middle. But I'm not going to be doing a tutorial on this particular temple, at least not in this part. I think the temple is so large we're going to need probably 2 parts to this video, maybe 3, before we finish off the entire tutorial. But in the download I will be including this in case you want to build one of these. And at the end I may double back and do one on that as well if there is any demand for that. So before we start off with all of the phases here, stretching off into the render distance over there, take a look at the dimensions first. So the dimensions for this temple is going to be 203 blocks wide, or rather long, stretching back that way, 95 blocks wide, going off in this direction, and 65 blocks tall, going all the way from the base of the stairs to the top of the pinnacle here at the front of the pediment. So let's take a look at the bill of materials you are going to need to construct this fine Greek edifice. You will be needing 90,327 blocks of diorite, 274,425 blocks of cobblestone. Now I know what you're thinking, Trydar, that's 250,000 cobblestone. Where am I going to get that much? Well, as you will see when I have built this building, I have built all the walls and everything solid. So when you are constructing this, I think that if you choose to build, especially the roof and a bit of the walls hollow and just leave the spaces void, you will need probably about half this much cobblestone, which is, still like what, 130 something thousand? So quite a lot. But if you are going to undertake this large mega build, I think that you will be up for the challenge. 3,926 blocks of basalt, 592 blocks of gold, 1,270 cobblestone slabs, 1,582 stone brick slabs, 8,092 nether brick slabs, 112 blocks of obsidian, 1,896 torches. However, if you're going to be doing this in survival, you'll probably need many more torches than what I have listed here. 7,272 cobblestone stairs, 46 blocks of netherrack. These were all the little fire pots that I showed you. 2,388 stone bricks, 4,738 stone brick stairs, 1,280 cobblestone walls, and 19,668 blocks of red nether brick. And you are using those exclusively, I believe, for the door and mostly for the roof on top. That's all of the nether brick, both the slabs and the red nether brick, you will be using for that. Okay, so with the tour concluded and the materials list described, it is now time to start the tutorial itself. So as I've said, these are the dimensions here. 203 blocks back that way, 95 blocks over this way towards the front, and 65 blocks tall over time. But 203 by 95 is what you need to construct this large base here. Now, as I've said, if you want to save some cobblestone, you can build this hollow, and you can just trace it a big box all the way around. Now, this measurement is very fundamental to the building, so I suggest that you measure this at least 3 times before, so we can make sure that you have your base absolutely correct. And in the middle here, there should be a center line that's going to be running through the Parthenon. We are going to have a couple of stairs, one on either side here, going off 3 blocks in that direction and 3 blocks over there for a total of 7. Because as we go, the Parthenon itself, it has two-way symmetry, meaning that what you build on this side is going to be a mirror of what you have built on that side over there. So in other words, as I go along, I'm only going to be focusing on one side of the building, but recognize that if you build something like this on that side, you're going to be mirroring it on the other side of this center line that is going to be running through this part of the base. So let's establish the measurement for the center line, by the way. So from the midpoint all the way to this side over here is going to be 48 blocks. So that includes the midpoint, by the way. So if you count 48 blocks from the side over to the center, this is going to be the 48th block right here. So if you start from that side over there, you should also get to 48 by the time you place that block a second time. And at the back, remember that the back is a copy of what is at the front. So remember, at the back, you also want to be placing these stairs. So the next phase you will be relieved is extremely simple. So simple, all you have to do is look at it. So now I should explain, from this point on, the tutorial is formatted in the following way. I have showed you first the foundation, which is going to be 1 block tall. But afterwards, every subsequent phase that I show you, every slice is going to go up 2 blocks. Like that there. And in 2 block increments, I will be showing you in slices the entire temple. So you'll build 1 slice and then stack on it that one, and then another one, and then another one, and so on and so forth until we will get all the way to the top. And in this way is what I will be showing you is the block by block format of everything that you will need to build. So remember, if you need to, just pause the video and replicate the block patterns that I will be showing you. I will go slow enough to show them all to you. So for the base, we need to have a series of 3 steps of stairs all the way around the base of the Parthenon itself before we start the actual temple. And the first measurement we made over there, from that you are just putting on top of that stairs like this here, out of cobblestone. And if you want to, as I have said, you can leave this stuff back here hollow if you want to save a bit on the bill of materials. But this top level here does need to be solid cobblestone, so you can leave about 2 layers underneath there to be empty. And in the middle here, you are just extending your stairs straight up 7 blocks in the middle. And of course, on the other sides here, look exactly like that back here. And at the back is going to be a copy of what is at the front here. Let's go back here and show you this. As you can clearly see. So we can move on to the next phase. Now, this phase is going to be probably the longest one that I have to describe to you, because we are putting in the actual footprint of the temple at this phase here. And we're going to start at the front on the outsides and sort of work our way in. So let's start over here for the base of one of the columns. Now, I believe you can clearly see the design of this. This is just a diorite done like so in that pattern there, and you're going to be building an awful lot of these columns. They all, except for the ones on the inside, they all share exactly the same design. And I suppose if you wanted to save a bit of materials, you could leave them hollow or maybe fill that with cobble. If you're having trouble gathering all of the diorite, you probably do that, I suppose, as well, if you want to be a bit more economical with your use of diorite, because I know at 90,000 may not be an easy amount for you to find. Now, over here, this column, if we draw a little diagonal from the corner here, you can see that if you draw a little 5-block diagonal, that is when you want to start placing your column. However, the distances between these, most of them are the same, but they're not all the same. So I'm going to have to measure these out for you to get the intercolumnation distance of these accurate. And that is what that's called, by the way. This has a distance here. The distance you place a column apart from each other is called an intercolumation distance. I know, lots of terminology, but I'm trying to go a bit light on that to spare you. So down here we have, this is going to be, what is that, 6 blocks there. And the next one is going to be a bit wider. So this column over here, this is going to be 7 blocks wide, and you build another column, and then you want to go another 7 blocks and build another column, and then you want to go another 7 blocks and build another column. And by the way, we've now hit the center line. So your center line is running through the temple like that. So what you build over here is an exact copy of what you built over here. Remember, just mirror it on the other side of the center line. Now these little fire pots back here, I have placed them pretty much just in the middle of these columns. Wherever you decide to place these, it's not really important. But in general, I have placed them directly behind the columns, as you can see here. So they're about 5 blocks back in general. So let us continue establishing the columns on the outer ring here. So we then want to go 6 blocks here for the ones on the side, just like we did on the front. And then we want to go a distance of, I believe this is going to be 7 blocks, and then build a column. And then 7 blocks and another column. And 7 blocks and another column. And 7 blocks and one more column. And then 7 blocks and a column. 7 blocks and a column. 7 blocks and another column. Hating myself a lot on this one. Another 7 blocks and another column. 7 more blocks and a column, and a 7 and a column, and a 7 and a column, and 7 and a column, almost to the end. 7 and a column, and maybe this is going to be the last 7. Column, and then at the end here, a 6. And once you get to this point, you want to turn the corner, and you're going another 6, and then back to 7. And then 7 again, and then another 7, and on this third 7 here, this is the center line. You can tell because we've hit the stairs. And let me just give you a top-down view here of how many columns and how many 7s. I haven't counted all these columns. It's quite a few. So from the top down, from the back to the front, or perhaps it's the front to the back. I'm really not sure. I would put the large room being the front if that was me, but I think it may have been a little bit different in the actual Parthenon. I'm not quite sure about that. So let me see. I have described all of the columns on the outside and the columns and the fire pots and everything. What's left? We need to talk about how to site the inner ring here and what these dimensions are going to be. So if we use the columns here as a reference guide, if we build, 5 blocks back this second column back, if you take the middle of that and build 5 blocks, we will then have this first stair, this corner stair over here. And if you continue this line, this will also give you the line of building these stairs here. And also on the 6th block, you then want to start extending your stairs back along there. And in the middle of those, you pretty much need to fill them in at the porches here with cobblestone and along the sides there. But the interior floor is going to be somewhat different, so we will get to that. As I've said, we're working on the exterior and sort of peeling it like an onion, going towards the inside. So 1 block farther up, we are building out the bases of the next series of columns here. These columns are exactly the same as the ones you've just been building. And in general, they are directly behind the main columns that we have already constructed. Let me just measure that out for you. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then up for the 9th one, and then a column. And there are this many columns on the front. There's 8 columns on the main facade, but the smaller columns back here, well, the ones on the back, they have only 6. So we can also see that we need to talk about the lattice work that's going to be in between these columns, as I remarked on in the tour, remember. Over here, we have some upside-down cobblestone stairs, and then some stone bricks, and then more upside-down cobble, and just a bit of cobble in here. And on the back, a bit of cobble back there. And that is the same for all of these, except for the doorway here, which is done like this with a bit of cobble and a bit of bedrock. Now, I realize that the bedrock is going to be a little hard to come by in survival. So where I have used a bedrock, this is where you should be using the basalt that I listed in the materials description. By the way, I forgot to change that on the reference model when I was showing it to you. So realize that when you are seeing bedrock, you really need to build basalt. And for all the little fire pots and everything down here, they have bases of basalt and everything as well. And then they just have cobblestone walls and then upside down stairs done on all 4 sides there, and then the netherrack there. And you can, if you want to, you can replace that with a campfire. You don't have to have the netherrack. So behind here, you can see that the next series of fire pots, they are set directly behind the ones at the front, by the way. And that is just 3 blocks back from that distance there. So let's take a look at the little sides here. So we have the side walls make the lattice work on this side just a little bit shorter. So this is going to be 5 blocks there, and then 1, and then what? 1, 2, 3, 15 for that one, and then what? 16, 17 for that, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the cobble. A 2-block little band of diorite there for the door edging. And then 1 block back. The doorway itself is in general 3 blocks thick. And the thickness of the wall here is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 blocks. And then we're mirroring the diorite again, then 2 there. And the basalt here. And on the inside, we now have some cobblestone stairs that are edging out the bottom here. But let's double back on that. I want to tackle the exterior before we do that. Out here, you want to build 5 blocks of cobblestone and then go back 1. And then 5 blocks, and then go back 1, and then the 5, and then back to 1. And you want to continue that pattern on top of the cobblestone stairs. Set 1 block back from those. Except I think we have a little area here where we're going to have 6. How many blocks back is that? It's roughly, I think this is actually in the center. This is why. That it's going to be a 6 block. And then so is that there. So I should count that out. So you're going to have a 5 and then a 1, a 5 and a 1 and a 5 and a 1 and what? How many 5s? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And when you have gone 5 blocks for 11 of these, the 12th one is going to be a 6 block. And then I believe this right here is the midpoint of the Parthenon. So you're going to have a 6 block on that, and then you're going to go back to your 1 and your 5 pattern like that. And then you will be mirroring at the back here everything that we started at the front, along with the porch and everything, and all of that on the exterior is going to be the same. We'll talk about the interior in a moment. So as I've said, this is the bottom of the door. If you want to, you could probably leave some of this hollow, or you can design your own door here. I think the space in this I have left enough. If you, for instance, if you have a large piston door and everything made out of what, slime blocks and flying machines that you want to install in this section, I believe you will have enough space to do that. I have not done that on this reference model, of course, because redstone isn't really my wheelhouse. But now let's talk about what we need to do for the interior. So at this level, we are laying down right here at level with the basalt that you're going to be constructing here. Just a layer of right side up cobblestone stairs all the way around, and you're doing this for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13 blocks that way, and then you want to turn the corner and go off in this direction over here. And you, in general, you want to continue this all the way to the back here at this point. And all of this from, I believe, this point on forwards that way. This is a complete mirror image of what we have been building at the front. So you want to take all of that and build it all again back here. But on the interior, we are going to have a little divider in here that we need to start building to divide off these 2 rooms from each other. So, what's the easiest place to get the measurement for that? I suppose we're just going to have to count it out from the back here. So from the point where we have the stairs making their little turn here, from this point here, all the way down to the point where these stairs turn and start going that way, that is going to be 29 blocks for that distance there. And the thickness of the wall is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 blocks. And as I've said, you can start leaving some of this back here hollow. You can, even if you wanted to, you can install some secret rooms back here as well. And maybe some passageways between those the 2 large rooms if you wanted to. And on the other side over here, this is where we have on the 9th block, you will start putting the stairs that will go across the room that direction, and of course these you have already built with the long line going from the front there. So let's pause for a moment and take a good top-down view of everything that we have talked about here for the side walls and the room divider, as well as out the front here, because this is all literally foundational to the building. So we have to make sure that we get all the dimensions right. So say it's a lot of measuring, but once we have all of this in place and get to probably that phase over there, things will start going up much more quickly than that. So I believe we can now take a look at the interior here. Now, this is my suggestion for a floor pattern. It's just alternating squares of cobblestone and diorite for the floors. If you want to choose different materials, say maybe obsidian and lapis or whatever, that might look nice in here. And if you worry about spawns, you could also cover it with glass, I suppose. But I think you can fairly clearly see the design that I have chosen for this and all of its measurements. I don't think I need to measure out the floors for you. You can, if you've already built the side walls and everything before you built this, you will clearly be able to see the designs from what I'm showing you for the squares of the floor. And it is also handy if you do this because we can use these as reference points to help cite the interior elements here that we have constructed for the rooms. Now, let's first talk about the interior columns. So, from this basalt square here, if you come out from the corner here 4 blocks and then turn and go 1 block, you will then put down the foundations for this first column here. And then the intercolumation distance of these is 4 blocks, and then this design again, then 4, and that design again there, and so on and so forth. 4 and a column, 4 and a column, 4 and a column, and 4 and a column, 4 and a column, 4 and another column, and 4 and one last column here. And with this last 4 here, we are building out this thing back here, which is sort of a supporting pillar, which is not a column. And from that, you then want to turn the corner and go 4 and a column, and 4 and another column. And I believe it is as this point right here. This is where our center line is running through the building. So you will want to mirror everything that you did on that side, on the other side, with the intercolumation distance of 4 blocks, and then your 3-block square columns. And for the fire pots, I think you can clearly see where these are sitting on top of the squares on all of the floors, so I'm not going to make detailed measurements for those. But I do need to make one for the central plinth here for the temple. Now, this is sitting flush with this column here, by the way. So if you go 4 blocks over from the back of that one, you will get to this block here. And then indeed at the front here, if you go this column up here and you go 4 blocks over, you will get that distance there, which is going to be about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 blocks. And then, of course, you can just meet this up in the middle and mirror that on the other side there, and whatever distance that works out to will be the dimension of the plinth for the statue here. Of course, if you want to make this a storage room and you have no need for this and you don't have a statue to put in here, you can build one of those yourself. I don't really intend to build a statue to go in this, by the way. I think that that covers the main room fairly comprehensively, as much as I can say about it anyway. So we've already talked about the dimensions of the stairs and everything over here, and the wall. And of course, the doorway and the frame around the door is the same as you built at the front. And it's only over here you then want to build out large based columns, identical to the ones on the exterior here. You want to build 2 of those on either side for a total of 4 for the treasury room back here. And I think you can see how to place those with the floor squares, giving you a guide, but just in case you can't. If for some reason you've chosen not to build those. From this point here, which is going to be the basalt surrounding the doorway, you want to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then build a column, and then 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and build a column. And the distance from here to the stairs should be another 5 blocks there, and then that will hit the wall there. And of course, you do that the same on both sides, and that will give you the foundation for those columns. And I think at this point, I'll probably spend about half the video describing one phase. But as I've said, this is a very important phase, so I have tried to go very slow and talk about everything and measure out everything that you will need. So at this point, you probably want to just pause and maybe go back over it and watch it again to make sure that you have gotten everything placed in the exact right position. As you can tell, as a general rule, the intercolumnation along the side here is going to be 7 blocks, but at the corners, it's going to be 6. This is actually a feature that is on the actual Parthenon, by the way. You might think that the columns would all be the 7 blocks apart, but no. The ones on the sides are a little bit closer spaced as the ones in the middle are. But indeed, since this is Minecraft again, I have had to make some measurements as best I could, because on the actual Parthenon, everything it's done in fractions, and there's not actually any straight lines in it, because everything just has a subtle curve to it, none of which we can replicate in Minecraft, unfortunately, but I have done my best to replicate the footprint for you. And with that, I think that there's enough time in this video to cover one additional phase, and we will have to pick up at that point over there for the next part, maybe 2 parts, I have to see. So the good news is, on the exterior here, you have already placed these 2 blocks of all of these columns on the last phase, and you want to go all the way around Parthenon and build them up 2 additional blocks. And as you can tell from the various phases over here that are yet to come, we will be doing that on these columns going up for quite a distance. On the interior here's of course the complete design for the fire pots. We have the fire here and the cobblestone walls and everything done according to that pattern there. And all of these fire pots are exactly the same. So once you build one of them, you have the design for all of the others. I believe on this phase here, this will be all of the fire pots done. And indeed, looking at it from this angle, there appears to be a lot of them. But I have done this to try and give the floor some lighting without just spamming torches everywhere. But I suppose if you are building this in survival, you're going to be spamming torches everywhere anyway. Let's take a look here at the design for the lattice. Now, we built this layer here already, but over here on top of those, we are building out stone brick stairs facing each other and cobblestone walls in the middle there, and these little cross patterns. And then we have some cobblestone stairs, and then a full block of stone bricks here. And on the other side, we have some cobble and stone brick stairs there, along with a couple of hidden torches down in here, by the way. And of course, that design is the same over here. It's different for the doorway. It's a very simple design for the doorway here. And it's slightly shorter on the sides over here. So let us now take a look at this next section. So when all the complicated 5 and 1 thing that I described on the last phase, you then want to come off on top of those and build another block of cobble directly on top of those, and behind those, which I didn't, which we are now putting in, you will have a cobblestone behind those for 2 blocks back here. But as the wall goes up from this point onwards, we will have a diorite wall in between these. And this is done to give the bricks a little bit more texture to stand out against the wall. I mean, they have the obvious texture, but I put some diorite behind those to sort of complement the columns, because otherwise it looked too gray when I did that. And in between those, this is sort of like mortar, by the way. And you want to lay your line of diorite and your cobble, stacking up the big ashlar blocks, like so. And I believe this is the midpoint here. You can tell because of the 6 block long blocks there. And you just continue that around the exterior, the same as you did on the front there. So let's now take a look at the inner porch. Now for this, you are going up with just straight cobble, like so, and then stone brick stairs on top of those. And we will be putting another pattern like on the exterior here, on top of here, by the way, in the next phase. But you are extending up your frames of basalt and diorite, like so. And then building out your doorway like this here. And this is where I have used all the gold. If you have, say, some iron or whatever, you can use that for your doorway. Or as I've said, if you want to put in a big piston doorway with flying machines and everything, you can do that in this space here. And you can also leave all this back here hollow if you want to, say, have some additional rooms. Or you just want to save on the enormous cobblestone bill. For this, you can do that as well. And along this space back here, you can leave this hollow as well if you want to do more to save on your cobblestone bill. So let's move on the inside now. So we've established all the foundations for this, and here's the design for the doorway on the inside. Is the same. On the outside, you're placing these blocks directly across from each other. There, and you are also placing in some design for the big blocks again. So you're going 5 blocks there, and then 1, and then 5, and then 1, but then you're going with a little diagonal here. Back 1 more, and then 4, 5 blocks there, and 1, and 5, and a 1. And you're going to do that for several times until you hit the back wall. And you should be doing that with a 5 here, and then a 1 there, and then like this design here. And where's the center line? Coming through here. So that is the design for the back wall to add some texture to your interior walls as well as the exterior. And of course you can see that you're building all the fire pot models in here. And for the columns, you are going around and extending everything up with 2 more blocks. I believe they're about 3 tall at this phase here. On top of all of the column foundations that you built. And here's a little detail of the back here. That's just all straight diorite. And for the central plinth, you then want to step back a block on all sides and just put in a straight slab of a diorite all around there. And let me talk about the treasury room back here. This is very simple. Again, you are doing, I think I need to give you the measurements for the blocks. Just trace these out all the way around here in high contrast red so you can see it done right in front of you. Make a little diagonal here. And then with the blocks here. And where's the midpoint? Right there. So let's take a look at that from the top down, and that's the design to lay in for the big blocks on the inside there. And of course, for the columns, you are just extending those up 2 additional blocks all the way around there. And of course, remember, everything at the back here is a straight copy of what you have done at the front up there. So let me give you a good top-down view from the back to the front of the entire Parthenon at this level. I imagine it will take you quite a while to get all the materials and do all the measurements to get started. But when we go to the next video in a couple of days' time, everything will go up quite a bit quicker, because as you can see, all the columns are repeating patterns, as well as some of the blocks and everything as well. But that's going to be all the time we have for today. I know we've only gotten through a couple of phases, but as I've said, we're going to make more progress on the next video. And remember, if anything you saw here was a little bit unclear in the video, the world download is available in the video description, so you can come here and take a look at all of this firsthand for yourself. And with that, I want to thank you very, very much for watching, and I will see you next time.